Operation Tenfold Pursuit released a couple of days ago, and in today's video we're going to look at 15 hidden changes that has come in the new season. Now here's just a few examples of what you're going to see in today's video. Now before we get into it, I want you to go down into the comment section. Let me know what your experience so far in the first couple of days of Siege has been and what you think of some of these hidden changes. And of course, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and let's aim for 500 likes on this video, so make sure to smash that like button. So let's dive in and get started here, starting off with the first change here on Skyscraper. Now this is a really nice change. What they've done is on this side roof across from the karaoke window, they've added a new roof up on top of this platform and a new cover area that you can sit behind when you're trying to get some shots into karaoke window. This is going to be another really good power position for attackers to hold, especially if someone tries to swing in and maybe get the diffuser down. You can hold the diffuser from the window, and they also remove the railing on the front so it's easy to drop down and push towards the building. This is going to be really interesting because you can get so many long angles all the way across, especially if you can get those walls open and see all the way through into tea room. So this is a really welcome change, and these are some of the changes that I want to see more of on maps as we move forward into future season. Just like subtle little changes, not like reworks, but just like little changes that help attackers and defenders when navigating through maps. Now I'm going to show you what it used to look like, because some people might have forgotten at this point. So basically there is no roof on the old platform and there is no cover up there as well, so it was a lot more risky to get up onto this platform to take shots in that karaoke window. As you can see, it's just a completely empty space, and the railing was blocking you as well, so you'd have to rappel over the railing to get down to the bottom level. So again, this is a nice change. I want to see more of this, and let me know down in the comments what you think of this change. Now another weird little change that I noticed on this map, so down at the back of the building, they removed this little archway that used to be just where this walkway is to go and rotate around the building. I don't know whether this is to do with trying to help people with rappelling, so you can rappel around the side of the building more safely, but you can see here that this entire arch was removed, and I do have that feeling that it's to do with rappelling, so you can kind of maneuver around safely without having to do it in front of any gun sites. So moving on to this next change, this is to do with Mute and Flores. So the new change in season 4 means that the drone will actually continue past the mute jammer, but you'll be kicked off of the remote control. So the drone will still remain activated and will reach its final destination after the 10-second timer and will detonate, but you will be pushed off of accessing control of the device. Now you'll see here on the old season from season 3 that the drone will actually get stuck in the mute jammer, but if you shoot out the mute jammer or shoot the drone, it will be destroyed and blow up. So this is just like, again, this is to do with the whole mute jammer rework. There's been a lot of changes. I'm going to show you a couple of more of them as we move forward, but this one with Flores, I'm not really sure what to make of this, whether this is like a good thing or a bad thing. Again, love to hear your thoughts on it, but it's an interesting change all the same. Shout out to Kudos for spotting this one. So many of you are not subscribed to the channel, almost 90%, so make sure to hit that sub button so you can keep up to date on my latest videos. Now, sticking with the mute interactions, Blitz's flash will now work inside the radius of a mute jammer. This is going to be detrimental to defenders, but it's another big change, allowing Blitz to have a chance to be able to flash people as he's pushing into special areas like, elbow on Clubhouse. So this is going to be a big change moving forward in this season. You can see here on the previous season that your tactical shield would be jammed when you were inside the radius of the shield. Now another big change with the mute interaction is that now the trigger for Thermite's breach charge will also be affected by a mute jammer. So you can see here on Clubhouse, I've put a breach on the wall, and if I wanted to open this later as a distraction, if I come over here to the garage door and there's actually a mute jammer just inside the door and I wanted to activate that breach charge, it will not work because the trigger is jammed. So this is an interesting change, a new interaction between Thermite and mute, and you'll see here that once I move out or destroy the mute jammer, I'm then able to get the wall open. You can see here showing you again from previous seasons that it was not affected, and I could just go down and be standing by the door whether I'm in a mute jammer, and I can still detonate the breach and open up the wall. So again, this is another interesting change. Mute has had so many confusing changes. I feel like I might even have to make a dedicated video for everything to do with mute. Now a nice little visual change here is that when you detonate a Thermite charge, you can actually see the outline of the charge rather than just the sparks on the wall, so you can see exactly where it's being detonated on the wall. Moving on to the next change, guys, and this involves the door entry trick. So before you used to be able to punch 2 holes in the door, and you could actually crouch walk in through that opening in the door frame. This is now not possible anymore on season 4. You could get stuck on the way through. Now I did find out a way that you can kind of slightly do it sometimes, but it's really weird, and I didn't want to put it in the video because I don't know exactly why sometimes I was able to get through the door frame. But you can see even if you shoot off that bottom panel, it still will not allow you to crouch walk through the door. Now I will say you can still prone through the door, but I feel like it's just so loud that it's really not beneficial like it used to be with the crouch walking. Moving on to the next one, guys, and this involves downed state changes. So when you get downed and you're trying to get revived by a teammate, you can see you have a new icon now above your head to the original one from the previous season, but on top of that you no longer have to push F to slow the bleeding. Now I'm going to show you exactly how this works. When you fall and you get downed, you can see here that it automatically slows the bleeding for you, but if you move forward you'll get a pulsating red icon showing that you're speeding up the process of getting downed. So this is an interesting change, and it's kind of a nice one, to be honest with you, because holding F sometimes can be very frustrating, but at least now you can just automatically be in that state. And I'll show you the old method here where you would just hold F and then you would move forward and then hold F again, and it was just kind of annoying. So the fact that this has been a new auto feature is actually a really nice change and a good quality of life update for the season. And moving on to the next changes, guys, and this is going to involve hard breachers. We're going to take a look at a few changes that have been made. So the first of which, Hibana tricking has been removed from the game. You can see here in the new season, if you place pellets on the bottom and top like you normally would to open up the whole wall, what's going to happen now is that it's just going to keep the reinforcements still in the center part of the wall, so you can no longer quick open the wall and gain access into the site. Not sure what to make of this change, whether I like it or not, but you can see here in the old season that it would open up the entire wall, and then you could have maybe a Buck or an Ash open up the rest of the wall and you can gain access into the site. Now I'm going to show you another change, and this involves Ace. The same idea, Ace tricking has also been removed by placing a Selma charge on the very top of the wall and one on the very bottom. Would allow you to completely open the wall, but you can see here on the new season that once again the center part of the hard reinforced wall will remain in place, so you will not be able to gain access to the site using this method anymore. Now again, I'm going to show you what it looks like from the other perspective as well, what it used to do in season 3, and you can see again that it would just open up the wall instantly, and you'll be able to get a Buck and again an Ash to open up the rest of the wall. So again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Is this a good change or a bad one? Let me know down below. Now on to the next one, guys. This is just a subtle change again to do with the mute jammer. So in season 4 you can now open up walls even if there's a mute jammer on the wall. The Selma charges will not be affected by the mute jammer. So again, this is another interesting change, and again another nerf for mute. He's just getting smoked, I feel. But you can see here in season 3 that if you would place a Selma charge on the wall, it would be jammed by a mute jammer. Now Maverick one is a bit of a weird change. So there was this kind of like quick method of opening the wall. You could just use the pegs on the reinforcement to open it quicker by following the line on the pegs. You could make a small blowtorch hole on the top and the same on the bottom following the pegs, and you could open up the whole wall much quicker. So they've removed that method, but you can still do the full wall tricking, so it's not entirely removed. Once again, by just going all the way across the bottom and all the way across the top here, you can again make the wall soft and have your teammates open up the rest of the wall. Now on to the next change. These are some weird texture changes on Coastline. So inside Hookah on the second floor, they've put these like weird kind of like cubed type textures on the wall. They're white with just red outlines. Again, maybe just making the room more visible, because the previous look of the room was just all red walls, and again I'll show you that in a second. But another change as well is down in Blue Bar. They basically did the same thing. They've retextured all the walls. It makes a bit more sense down in Blue Bar because the textures are actually kind of like more bluish, so it just allows for, I guess, like callouts that people learn the map better. Maybe I'm not quite sure. Maybe this is to do with like resource heavy textures that they're trying to just kind of lower the quality of the textures in the game, making more room for others. But again, it's such an interesting change, and again just very confusing, but you know, this is what UB does sometimes. You can see here the old on season 3 what the old walls look like. They were just completely red, but I do feel like that was a nice change, but it is still a very weird texture change to have. You can see down inside Blue Bar it was just like almost like a complete white wall, and the same on the other side, it was all blue. So again, I don't even know if this is for callouts, because literally that was blue walls already. So I don't know what to say about this one. But moving on to the next one. So this is a big change. I actually really like this change with the pistol. So they've kind of zoomed out the ADS. The gun is further out in front of you, and I just feel like it just allows for more precision aiming. I don't know why, because the gun used to be much closer up to the character camera, so you could like less to see. This allows for a bit more visibility. The gun just seems smaller in your hand, and the same with the C75. This is a huge change. This gun is going to be so much better in Season 4 because the gun has been moved further out when you're ADSing. And again, I'm going to show you what this looked like in the past. From the previous season, you could see that the C75 was like right up in your face, like you could barely see in front of you. And again, this is just such a nice little change, and I want to see more stuff like this on the game as we move forward. But again, you can see that it was just like really close up in front of the camera, especially when you were shooting. The gun was just like popping up in your face, and it was very, very frustrating. Now I'm going to show you a side-by-side comparison here for the pistols just to see the difference. You can see on the left side it's much closer to your face, whereas on the right side it's much more zoomed out, and it does give a much better feel when you're getting into gunfights using the new pistol ADS. So that's it for the video today, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, get down to the comment section, let me know your thoughts. I really appreciate all the support. Make sure to hit that sub button, and as always, I'll talk to you in the next one.